The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Boogie down, mix up. Boogie down, fix up. The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey baby, I love the way you groove. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey baby, I love the way you boogie juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Boogie down, mix up. Boogie down, fix up. The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey, hey baby, I love the way you groove. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey, hey baby, I love the way you boogie down. Hey baby, I love the way you move, boogie down. The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Boogie, boogie, boogie down, baby. Can you boogie down? The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Boogie down, mix up. Boogie down, fix up. The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey, hey baby, I love the way you groove. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey, hey baby, I love the way you The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Boogie down, mix up. Boogie down, fix up. The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey baby, I love the way you groove. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey baby, I love the way you boogie down. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Boogie down. The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Boogie, boogie down, baby. Can you boogie down? The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Boogie down, mix up. Boogie down, fix up. The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey baby, I love the way you groove. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey baby, I love the way you The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Boogie down, mix up. Boogie down, fix up. The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey baby, I love the way you groove. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey baby, I love the way you boogie down. Hey baby, I love the way you move, boogie down. The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Boogie, boogie down, baby. Can you boogie down? The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Boogie down, mix up. Boogie down, fix up. The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey baby, I love the way you groove. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey baby, I love the way you
The Big Train deep in a playoff battle. They face the Cropdusters for one final time in 2023 with their chance to win the division on the line. The Cropdusters got the better of the Big Train in game one, and Bethesda looking to beat the Cropdusters for the first time in almost 2 months. They did so last on opening day. The two top teams in the North Division battling for that first round bye, Cropdusters and Big Train. It's the game of the year on the Big Train Baseball Network. Alongside Adam Glover, I'm Eli Kleinman, and Adam, after the loss, the Big Train in desperate need of a win if they want a chance to claim the North Division and that first round bye in the playoffs.
Yeah, and the Big Train have not looked good here in only 2 games, and they've scored just a mere 8 runs compared to 18 allowed. So if the offense can pick it up a little bit like they did yesterday against the Metro Soco Braves, the Big Train should be in good position to head to tomorrow, at least still ahead in this division.
Well, let's give you the Big Train starting lineup. 20-11 their record. Sal Colangelo, the manager for the Big Train. Eddie Hakopian leads things off. He's followed by Connor Rasmussen, and Jacob Orr rounds out the top 3. Teddy Ruffner moves into the cleanup spot. Jeffrey Hurd hits 5th, and Jason Schiavone plays 1st and hits 6th. Dixon Williams bats 7th. Zeb Ruddle hits 8th, and Clay Wargo rounds things out. He hits 9th. On the mound for the Cropdusters is the right-hander from James Madison. It's Ryan Cook. And Adam, today we have an all James Madison starting pitching duel. Ryan Cook for the Cropdusters, Ryan Erdelschweiger for the Big Train.
Yeah, and if you notice between the Big Train and the Cropdusters, 2 teams in this league that have a lot of really good Division I talent. And you're going to see it on display here as both these 2 pitchers have a lot of good movement with some of their pitches, and it's going to be tough for hitters on both sides, but let's see if the Big Train can carry over some of that momentum from the 7th inning of last game into game 2.
Cook went 4 innings on opening night in the loss to the Big Train. They hope for similar success tonight. Hakopian at the plate, Cook ready on the mound. Both righties staring at each other in the first pitch is a fastball called to strike on the outside corner, 0-1. Hakopian reached base a couple times in the loss earlier this afternoon. 0-1 pitch. Swings away to fastball and pops it foul down the first base side, quickly behind 0-2.
And one thing we saw in game 1, a lot of aggressive first and second pitch swings from the Big Train. And this is the one negative, is you can fall behind early on, but we'll see if Hakopian can battle here.
Here's the 0-2 pitch. Hakopian swings at an inside fastball, loops it into shallow right center field, and the right fielder Morris on the move in makes the catch for out number 1. Wind has started to pick up as we head later into the evening. Still blowing in from left field towards the first base foul line. A haze hangs over the only sky with 1 out. Connor Rasmussen to the plate. And the first pitch to him, he lines it down the left field line. It's a fair ball, and it rolls into the corner. Baumhofer cuts it off. Rasmussen takes a big turn at first and stays right there with a single. Patrick Sanchez, the cutoff man, and the shortstop stares him down back to the base, but it's a 1-out knock for Rasmussen. Let's give you a look at the Cropduster defense. Baumhofer in left, you just met him. Mira, the center fielder, and Morris in right. Robinson at third, Sanchez at short. The defensive specialist for the Cropdusters, Martin at second. It's Kirk at first, and Rickabaugh behind the plate. Jacob Orr to the plate with 1 down and 1 on. And the right-hander swings at a first pitch and pops it up. First base side, the first baseman Kirk into foul territory over near the Cropduster dugout, and he makes the catch with room for out number 2.
And it looked to be a breaking ball from Ryan Cook, and Jacob Orr just a little behind on it. It was a good location for Orr to put a good swing on it, but for Orr just not sitting on a breaking ball.
So Teddy Ruffner to the plate with 2 down and a runner at first. Moves up from the 9-hole to the cleanup spot as a throwback to first, and Rasmussen dives in safely. Ruffner Had an excellent day in game one, an RBI, 1 for 3, and a run scored. All right, he holds that bat over his right shoulder. The first pitch to him. He lines the baseball into right field, in between the second baseman and the first baseman for a base hit. Morris, the right fielder, fires to third. Rasmussen tries to go first to third. He's thrown out. What a throw by Morris on one hop. And the inning comes to an end. The Big Train pick up 2 hits, but 1 left. And Rasmussen thrown out, trying to be aggressive. On to the bottom of the first we go. It's the Cropdusters coming to bat. Ryan Erdelschweiger to the mound on the other side.
Meet me in the car. Boogie, boogie, boogie down. Baby, can you boogie down?
Bottom of the first, and let's take a look at the lineup for the Cropdusters. 20-11 is their record, or 21-12 is their record. And it looks like this. Braden Martin leads things off, the rising freshman at Maryland, followed by Will Baumhofer, the left fielder in his second year in Olney. Jimmy Kirk bats third once again, and the best hitter by average in the Cal Ripken League, Matt Mira, hits cleanup. Jack Cannizzaro hits fifth. He had 3 RBIs and a 3-hit day earlier this afternoon. He's followed by Sam Morris, another Millersville product in this Cal Ripken League and for the Cropdusters. Tay Robinson, who just transferred from College of Charleston to Towson, hits 7th. RJ Rickabaugh, the Notre Dame catcher, hits 8th. And Patrick Sanchez, the Sweet Glove shortstop, hits 9th. And they face Ryan Erdelschweiger on the mound for the Big Train. The righty with a 2.70 ERA and 5 starts has gone 20 innings and 21 strikeouts. So Braden Martin to the plate to lead things off. The lefty stands in, hands relaxed in front of his chest. Erdelschweiger, the righty, first pitch is a slider up and away outside the zone, of ball and no strikes. No score, bottom of the first between the Cropdusters and the Big Train in a battle for first place in the North Division. 1 out. Martin watches a fastball called a strike on the outside corner. It's even at 1-1.
And Erdelschweiger, we've talked about it, good 3-pitch mix, that fastball, the changeup, but get ready for the slider against some of these right-handed hitters.
1-1. Goes fastball, and it misses below the knees of Martin. 2 balls and a strike. Martin, a Maryland native, and heading to College Park to play for the reigning Big Ten champs. 2-1. He hits a high fly ball to deep right field. Ruffner drifts back, reaches up on the track, and makes the catch for out number 1.
Yeah, give credit where credit's due to Teddy Ruffner. You know, we've talked and raved about some of the athletic guys in this outfield, but one who I don't think we've mentioned too much of is Teddy Ruffner, being able to track that ball into deep right center and make a good running grab.
Well, Baumhofer hit second for the Cropdusters, and the lefty back to the plate. Getting over 300 in his second season in Olney as he watches a first pitch cruise right over the zone at the knees, called a strike. 0-1. Another fastball from Erdelschweiger. Holds the glove in front of his face as he peers in for the side. Couple shakes, now a nod. 0-1. Change up, and Baumhofer lines it right back off the fence behind home plate. Quickly behind, 0-2.
Yeah, that's going to have to be Erdelschweiger's pitch when he doesn't go with the fastball. It's going to have to be that changeup. He can still go with the slider, but definitely tougher to work a slider to a left-handed hitter than a right-handed hitter, with the slider breaking away from right-handed hitters.
0-2 pitch. And Baumhofer hits a sharp ground ball to the left side. Rasmussen, the shortstop, deep in the hole. Throw to first on the move across his body is a little late, and Baumhofer has a 1-out single. Second hit of the afternoon after going 1 for 4 earlier. Let's give you a look at the Big Train defense. Orr in left, Ruddle in center. You met Ruffner in right. Hakopian plays third base today with Rasmussen playing short, the counterpart to Sanchez, both excellent defenders. And Williams at second again. Schiavone mans first, and it's Clay Wargo behind the plate as Jimmy Kirk steps up. With the runner at first and 1 down, and the first pitch from Erdelschweiger draws a big swing and a miss at a fastball, 0-1.
Yeah, Kirk, for his last 2 plate appearances in game 1, was really swinging hard at some early pitches, trying to drive the ball into the gap or over that wall, but has to stay back and be patient.
0-1, the slider spins its way outside, a ball and a strike. Kirk went 0 for 1 in the first game, but had a couple walks and a sacrifice fly. The power bat for this Cropdusters team. 1-1 pitch. Swings at a fastball and ropes it foul on the ground down the third baseline, a ball and 2 strikes. Hit his 5th home run last night against the Aces in the losing effort. Has 5 home runs to tie him with Jeffrey Hurd for second in the Cal Ripken League behind just Matt Ossenfort of Alexandria. Tall righty with the open stance. Stares towards the mound. Runner goes, 1-2. Kirk hits a sharp ground ball left side. Rasmussen fields on the backhand, and it pops in and out of his glove. He has no play, and it's 2 on with 1 out as Baumhofer moves over to second.
That's tough for Connor because, you know, he was so far over, he shaded to that second base bag trying to play for the force if something was hit to second base, and at least to try to get a double play, and that ball headed towards the 5-hole on the left side, and just couldn't get the glove on it. A long run, though, but Connor early showing off the athleticism.
So it brings Matt Mirror to the plate. And those bright yellow uniforms for the Cropdusters. First pitch home, and the slider just dips outside the outer part of the zone. It's a ball and no strikes. Mirror nearing the 400 mark as the league's best hitter in average. Had 2 hits in the first game, including a pair of RBIs. 1-0. The fastball paints the lower outside corner. Called a strike. Even at 1-1, Tim Abel, our home plate umpire. Dave Stewart moves over to first, and Bill Worthington is at third. At second is Baumhofer. At first is Kirk. With 1 down in the bottom of the first, no score. 1-1 pitch. The slider spins away from Mira. 2 balls and a strike. Mira about as far away from home as one could possibly get for the summer. Calls Honolulu, Hawaii his home and plays for the University of Hawaii on the island of Oahu. 2-1. Fastball misses down below the knees. 3 balls and a strike.
Erdelschweiger right now doesn't have a lot of confidence. You can see in that fastball. He has it in the slider. He shook off a couple of pitches that Clay Wargo suggested to opt to go with that slider, but can't command the fastball. So if the slider's not on, Erdelschweiger is falling behind, and you see it here, 3-1.
Set at the belt, 3-1 pitch. And the slider misses low and outside, ball 4. A walk to Mira. The bases are loaded with 1 down in the bottom of the first. And the Cropdusters, who never trailed in game 1, looking to take the early lead in the bottom of the first. It's Jack Cannizzaro who did the early damage for the Cropdusters in game 1. Had 3 RBIs, including a 2 RBI knock to get the scoring started in the bottom of the second. Bases loaded, 1 down. Erdelschweiger deals the first pitch, and Cannizzaro takes a fastball just off the outside corner. A ball and no strikes. With the tape on his wooden bat, no batting gloves for the designated hitter. Erdelschweiger a look back at second. 1-0. And the slider Drops below the knees. It's 2 balls and no strikes. Two hits and a walk are how the bases were loaded by the Cropdusters. Ahead in the count is Cannizzaro. 2-0 home. Takes a fastball right down Broadway. It's called a strike. 2 balls and a strike the count.
Yeah, for Erdelschweiger, that outside part of the zone to right-handed hitters has been where he's struggled, but that's a good pitch for him. If he can locate it in that spot, likely to get some soft contact from right-handed hitters to the right side of the infield.
Corners creep in for the big train. 2-1 pitch. Cannizzaro laces one down the right field line. It drops in for a fair ball. Ruffner cuts it off. 1 run comes in. The throw to the cutoff man, Schiavone, holds everyone at just 1 base, but they move station to station. An RBI single for Cannizzaro. It's 1-0 Cropdusters in the bottom of the first. And Sam Morris comes up with the bases still full.
3 hits now for the Cropdusters, with that one that Jimmy Kirk grounded to Rasmussen being called a hit, not an error, with how tough of a play it was. But, you know, the big train, they got a tough matchup here. You know, they're not throwing their better starters like a Brandon Cassidy or a Jesse Gutierrez, so they got to rely on Erdelschweiger.
It's Sam Morris to the plate, and he takes a first pitch slider off the outside corner, a ball and no strikes. Ryan Erdelschweiger was an all-star.
Yes.
And still one of the big train's better starting pitchers, even if he's not one of the top 2 guys, as the 1-0 to Morris is hit high and deep down the left field line, but it is foul and out of play, a ball and a strike. That's how deep this big train rotation can go. As Morris scrapes his cleats in the dirt, spins the bat towards the mound, and rests it on his right shoulder. Erdelschweiger, deep breath on the mound, and a 1-1. And the slider, perfect placement on the lower outside corner. It's a ball and 2 strikes with 1 away. Not great speed at third for Kirk, but good speed at second with Mira, and Cannizzaro above average speed at first. 1-2 pitch. Morris watches a fastball just off the lower outside corner. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Another one of these Millersville products at the plate. Team that reached the D2 College World Series this past spring, and Jimmy Kirk, his teammate at Millersville, stands at third. 2-2, slider, and Morris hits a high fly ball into shallow center field. Ruddle, the center fielder, calls everyone off. He makes the catch. And at third, Kirk fakes a tag and remains there for out number 2. Strong throw from Ruddle all the way to the plate. And there's 2 outs with the bases still loaded. And an excellent job from Erdelschweiger to not allow a run.
Yeah, of course, you at home couldn't see that throw, but Zeb Ruddle with an absolute strike to home plate to Clay Wargo. And you realize that if Kirk had tagged up, pretty good chance that we would have been out of this inning.
Robinson to the plate with the bases loaded, and he smacks one left side. It's Eddie Hakopian who dives to his left and brings it in to end the inning. His first start of the summer at third, and he saves 1 run and maybe 2. We head to the top of the second. From Olney, it's 1-0 Cropdusters, but Erdelschweiger, with a little help from his defense, limits the damage. To the top of the second we go. It's 1-0 Cropdusters in a must-win game for the Big Train if they want to control their own destiny in the North Division. And winning the division gives you a first-round bye, while finishing in second makes you play a one-game wild card game on Saturday. One of these teams will win this North Division. One of these teams will play in that wild card game and then likely face off in the league semifinals. So Jeffrey Hurd to the plate with nobody out. Top of the second. 1-0 the Cropdusters lead, and the first pitch fastball from Ryan Cook misses just off the outside. A ball and no strikes.
Take it back to that first. The Big Train did have 2 hits in that inning, so they are seeing Cook well early on.
1-0. Fastball misses high and tight to Hurd as he spins out of the way. 2 balls and no strikes. Well, on opening day when Cook faced the Big Train, he did not allow an earned run, but he did allow 4 to cross on 4 hits. And the win for Bethesda is a 2-0 pitch. Hurd lifts it into left center field. In comes the left fielder Baumhofer, but it drops in front of him in the gap for a base hit, and a leadoff single for Hurd to begin the top of the second. Already hit number 3 for the Big Train.
It's funny how baseball works. Hurd had 2 long and hard hit flyouts in game 1, but then it's the little looping low velocity single in game 2 that allows him to finally reach.
So it brings up Jason Schiavone, who went 0 for 4 in game 1 earlier. The right-hander stares in and takes a fastball called a strike at the letters, 0-1. These 2 college teammates, Cook and Schiavone, at James Madison. And Schiavone, the starting catcher for the Dukes, likely knows what he's about to see from the right-handers. A throw to first, and Hurd dives in safely. A win for the Cropdusters puts their magic number down to 2 in the North Division. 0-1. Schiavone lines one right to the shortstop, Sanchez. He makes the catch. His throw back to first is a little high and a little late. Hurd scrambles back to the bag in time, but Schiavone, unlucky, hits it right at Sanchez for out number 1.
Yeah, perfect timing, talking about all those hard hit line drives. Just another really hard hit ball. This one from Schiavone, which we've started to see a little more and more, just right at Sanchez at short.
So Dixon Williams to the plate with 1 down and a runner at first. He had a nice day earlier this afternoon in game 1. First pitch to Williams. He lines it down the right field line. It drops in front of the right fielder Morris for a base hit. Off for third goes Hurd. The throw from Morris again. This time it's not in time. And Hurd dives around the tag just barely. Runners at the corners for the Big Train with 1 down after the single from Williams.
That's a beautiful slide from Hurd going to the left side of that bag. Another really strong throw by Morris, but I mean the first one from Rasmussen was, a really tough call to make, and it didn't go in the Big Train's way, but this one does.
So Zeb Rutter to the plate with an RBI opportunity. Hurd at third, Williams at first, and Williams with good speed. Had a pair of stolen bases in game 1. Lefty waits at the plate. Runner goes. First pitch outside to Ruddle. Throw down to second. Skips off the glove of the shortstop Sanchez into center field. Here comes Hurd from third. He's in to score on his feet. The Big Train have tied the game at 1 in the top of the second.
I'll take advantage of that. Dixon Williams had the throw beat anyway, but a bad one, and credit to Jeffrey Hurd for always paying attention there. The ball didn't trickle away too far, but enough to where if Hurd saw it soon enough, which he did, able to come in and score.
So runner in scoring position with 1 down for Ruddle. The 1-0 pitch. Fastball well high. It's 2 balls and no strikes. Williams at second could give the Big Train the lead. They have yet to lead so far today. Through 8 1/3 innings of baseball after trailing the whole way in game 1. 2-0. Ruddle swings through a fastball. It's 2 balls and a strike.
Yeah, I like the idea of Ruddle trying to be aggressive, swinging 2-0, but credit to Cook going with a nice fastball up and in. It's been the one area that Zeb Ruddle's game hasn't been great, is that high fastball.
As Cook stares in for the sign, comes set at the belt. A look back at second. 2-1. On the move to third is Williams. The throw down from Rickabaugh. The catcher is high and late. It's a second stolen base for Dixon Williams, his 4th on the day. And a runner at third with 1 down and a 3-1 count to Ruddle.
Yeah, a little deja vu from that first game, Eli. When Dixon Williams reached at the base hit, had 2 stolen bases. It was Teddy Ruffner who drove him in. And now we'll see if Zeb Ruddle can repeat what Teddy did here in game 2.
3-1 pitch. Ruddle hits a little looper into right field over the head of the second baseman Martin. Into score comes Williams. It's a soft single, but it's an RBI, and the Big Train lead for the first time. It's 2-1 in the top of the second.
Infield came in, and it's a fastball that Zeb Ruddle was able to get the bat around on, but still he got jammed with that ball a little lower on the bat, not up by the barrel, more towards the handle, and that ball bounced in the infield when it went over the infielder's heads. You could see the dirt kind of kick up, so not a very long hit for Ruddle, but does the job.
Up to the plate comes Clay Wargo, and he takes a first pitch fastball inside, a ball and no strikes. This is the first lead the Big Train have over the Cropdusters since June 18th in their 7-5 loss when they led it going into the top of the 9th. 1-0. Wargo watches a fastball zing into the zone on the inside corner, a ball and a strike.
And we hope that maybe Clay's back can come around a little bit. Both him and DeLisi, the batting average is a little low, but Nick DeLisi had 2 big hits yesterday, so we'll see if Clay can start swinging a hot stick.
1-1. Wargo lines one back off the fence behind the plate, a ball and 2 strikes. It was a total of 17 innings. The Big Train trailed consecutively to the Cropdusters without having the lead in a season series that has heavily favored the team in yellow. Wargo at the plate, down in the count, and a throw back to first. Ruddle in safely with a head-first dive. Gets that right hand in. The Big Train in front in game 2, 2-1 the lead in the top of the second. Cook pins that glove against his left hip. Gets the sign and comes set. Deals a 1-2. Ruddle on the move. Wargo ropes one foul down the third base line. And he stays alive. A ball and 2 strikes as Ruddle has to return to first.
And for Cook, getting Wargo out here is big with Eddie Akopian waiting on deck. You'd rather face Eddie with 2 outs than with 1 out.
Cook ready to deal again. Here comes the 1-2 again, and Wargo pops it up behind home plate, out of play again, and the count remains a ball and 2 strikes. Off of first is Ruddle with good speed. 3 steps off the bag. And a throw back to first, and he goes into a knee first dive. Back safely. Ball and 2 strikes to Wargo at the plate.
It's always the most awkward when you're barely off the bag at first, but still far enough to where you have to kind of jump back and end up sliding your knee on top of first base.
He takes off. 1-2 to Wargo, and he lines it foul behind the plate again. A ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, good usage of the slider here for Cook. He's got a good one, and he keeps working the inside corner to Clay Wargo, which is why you keep getting these soft contact and a lot of foul balls back into the net.
Wargo restraps Those red batting gloves. He stares towards the mound. A hazy day as the wind calms down in the top of the second. 1-2. Wargo pops it up behind home plate. RJ Rickabaugh, the catcher, gives a look, but it's out of play again as the crowd filling in nicely for the biggest game of the Cal Ripken League season to this point, with first place on the line in the North Division. It's a ball and 2 strikes to Wargo with 1 down. A look over at first from Cook. Ruddle does not go. 1-2, swing and a miss. Wargo strikes out, and that's out number 2 in the top of the second.
Yeah, it might be a strikeout, but credit to Wargo for staying in there, falling behind 2 strikes early, fouling off 4 straight pitches, 5 straight pitches, something like that. And even though he goes down, that helps out big time with the big train, recording a lot of base hits and a lot of outs early on in at-bats.
So it brings up Eddie Hakopian, who flew out back in the first as a throw to the bag, and Ruddle dives into first safely. Hakopian has been the best indicator for Big Train's success over his 7 games in Bethesda. As Cook deals, Ruddle on the move, the slider, a called strike. Ruddle slides in feet first, and before the throw arrives, Martin, the second baseman, receives it, but it's a stolen base for Ruddle. He moves into scoring position. No balls and a strike to Hakopian.
Yeah, Rickabaugh has a strong arm, but when it goes to second base, definitely not as strong as somebody like Canizaro had in game 1. So the big train taking a lot of advantage of that with their athleticism and their good speed.
0-1 pitch. Hakopian takes outside with a fastball, a ball and a strike. 7 games for Hakopian in Bethesda. 3 of them wins, 4 losses. In the 3 wins, 7 for 12 with 8 runs scored. In the 4 losses, just 2 for 13 with only 2 runs scored. All have been out of the leadoff spot. As Ruddle dances off the bag and Cook spins around and forces Ruddle to retreat quickly without a throw.
He had a chance to get him, but I like the idea, eating the ball, not trying to throw it, because if that does go into center field, there's a chance Ruddle could score with how deep Miura is.
1-1, and Hakopian watches another slider. Called a strike on the outside corner. A ball and 2 strikes the count with 2 down. A runner at second, 2-1 Big Train, top of the second. Hakopian dangles the bat over home plate. Now leans it over his right shoulder. The 1-2. Ruddle on the move. A foul tip into the glove of Rickabaugh, the catcher. Goes down as a strikeout. Back-to-back punch-outs for Cook. Gets him out of the inning, but not before the Big Train strike for 2 on 3 hits and 1 left. We head to the bottom of the second, 2-1 Big Train. Bottom of the second, and the Big Train lead for the first time today. It's 2-1 with RJ Rickabaugh leading things off. And that once gold helmet for the Notre Dame product has a nice layer of pine tar on the top of it. Change to wood bats means an increase in pine tar for these hitters. As the lefty waits, Ryan Erdelschweiger back to the mound, and the first pitch is inside, and it hits Rickabaugh right on the elbow. So first pitch puts a runner at first for Patrick Sanchez. And the shortstop, who has showed defensive brilliance in the field, looking to try and keep the line moving in the bottom of the second, with the leadoff man Braden Martin on deck. First pitch from Erdelschweiger, swing and a miss from Sanchez, throwback to first from the catcher Wargo, and Rickabaugh in just in time. No balls and a strike. Sanchez had an RBI single back in game one.
Patrick, more known for the glove, like you said, but did reach base 4 times in that game. Was a problem for Max Martzoff and Gavin Jones.
0-1 pitch. The slider stays inside to the right-hander. It's a ball and a strike. With a maroon arm sleeve on his right arm. Holds the bat just behind his head. 1-1. Takes a slider low and outside. 2 balls and a strike.
Let's go, Ryan.
His yellow pants rolled up about 4 or 5 inches. You can see the black socks peek out above his white shoes. 2-1. Sanchez hits a little tapper down the third base line, but it's foul as he grounds it off himself. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Erdelschweiger steps back on the mound. Rickabaugh 2-step lead off of first, nobody out, bottom of the second. Erdelschweiger a look to first, 2-2 home, and the slider hangs up a little bit upstairs above the zone. It's 3 balls and 2 strikes. Here's the 3-2. Rickabaugh stays at first, and it's a called third strike on a fastball that paints the outside corner. 1 away as Erdelschweiger picks up his first strikeout of the day. Back to the plate comes Braden Martin, second baseman. A fly out to right to get things started in the bottom of the first. He squares the bunt, puts it down the third baseline. In comes the third baseman, Hakopian. He fields with the glove, and by the time he transfers it to his right hand, he has no throw. Too much speed from Martin, and it's a bunt single to move Rickabaugh over to second with only 1 away.
Yeah, not to mention Hakopian playing back, not expecting the bunt. And Eddie can run down at third base, but Braden Martin, big reason he's in that leadoff spot, that speed.
So Will Baumhofer to the plate. A single and a run scored back in the first. In this battle for first place in the North Division, winner of the division gets a first round bye. Erdelschweiger ready to deal. Look back at second. Rickabaugh creeps off the bag. First pitch to Baumhofer, and the fastball misses off the outside, a ball and no strikes. Historical precedent shows how important it is to get one of the 2 first-round byes. As Baumhofer waits in the left-handed hitting batter's box, 1-0. Swings and hits a little chopper. Schiavone, the first baseman, fields. Throws to second where the shortstop Rasmussen covers for out number 2. It gets Martin, and no throw for Rasmussen It's runners at the corners after the fielder's choice. Rickabaugh to third, Baumhofer to first.
Yeah, had a chance at two, but not a great throw from Jason Schiavone over there at first, and credit to Connor Rasmussen at short for saving a bad throw.
Jimmy Kirk to the plate. Last time a team outside the top two seeds won the title was back in 2013. You have to go back a decade when Baltimore did it. 2 down, and Kirk takes a fastball just off the outside, a ball and no strikes. They were the 6th seed that year when they won it all.
The Redbirds or the
Redbirds.
Redbirds, yes.
And it is only the 2nd time since 2010, the beginning of the point streaks era, that it has happened. The Big Train did win the title in 2010 as the 3 seed. 1-0. Kirk hits a high chopper to the left side. The third baseman, Hakopian, plays back on it, throws to second, and it's just in time to get Baumhofer inning over. The Cropdusters thought they had Baumhofer in at second in time, but the inning comes to an end. The Big Train hold the Cropdusters scoreless in the bottom of the 2nd. To the 3rd inning we go. 2-1, Big Train.
The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner, no. 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 Boogie down, mix up. Boogie down, fix up. The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey, hey baby, I love the way you groove. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey, hey baby, I love the way you boogie down. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Boogie down. The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up.
Connor Rasmussen leads things off in the top of the 3rd. The Big Train lead 2-1 in only as they face the Cropdusters for the final time this regular season. Rasmussen got the first hit of the game with a single back in the top of the 1st. Ryan Cook back to the mound for the Cropdusters, and the righty stares in and deals. And Rasmussen takes a fastball called to strike right over the heart of the zone, 0-1. Rasmussen, the future 2-lane green wave. He waits on an 0-1, takes a slider in the dirt, a ball and a strike, has certainly picked it up. Had his best day of the summer yesterday, 3 hits, including a triple and a couple runs in the 13-3 win over the Braves. 1-1. Takes a fastball just off the outside, 2 balls and a strike. Taps that pink bat on home plate, gives it a couple twirls towards the mound. Cook winds and deals a 2-1, and the fastball inside, 3 balls and a strike. Big Train scored both of their runs in the top of the second to take the lead, looking to add some insurance in the third. 3-1 pitch. And Rasmussen takes high and wide with a fastball for ball 4. It's a leadoff walk, and it brings up Jacob Orr.
That's perfect for the Big Train. And Connor Rasmussen stays hot, now reached base twice in this game after a game 1 where he also reached once, and then, of course, yesterday where he reached 4 times.
So good speed at first for Orr with a pair of hits in game 1. First pitch to him, and the slider spins well outside, almost to the backstop. Rickabaugh has to dive to his right to keep it in front. Ball and no strikes. Orr in the midst of a 4-game hit streak, including the game earlier today. Throw back to first. Rasmussen dives in safely. 5 for 11 over these last 4 games. 1-0. Takes a fastball just inches away from his kneecaps. It's 2 balls and no strikes. He stares down at third to get the sign. Hayes continues to hang over field here and only as another throw back to first, and Rasmussen again dives in safely, gets those white batting gloves a little bit dirty. Cook set, look over at first, 2-0. And Orr takes ball 3, a fastball that misses off the outside of the plate. It's 3 balls and no strikes.
We'll see if Orr gets the take sign here with Ruffner and Hurd waiting. Big Train only up by 1. Don't want to risk maybe popping out or something like that.
3-0. And he takes ball 4. It's outside with another fastball. Back-to-back walks, puts runners at first and second for Teddy Ruffner.
Yeah, this is perfect for the Big Train, and already running into some issues is Cook, and looks like they're going to have a bit of a mound visit here to make sure he's okay, because that command has just not been there this inning.
It's the manager, Adam Leader, who heads out to the mound. Chat with his right-hander as the infield converges. Big Train have played 4 doubleheaders so far this summer, and they have split every single one of them. A win in this game would make it 5 doubleheaders they have split. But for now, that would be enough. It would give them the glimmer of hope they need with a chase for the North Division crown quickly coming to an end. Teddy Ruffner to the plate with runners at first and second, and nobody out. A win tonight, and the Big Train would still control their own destiny. Cook set on the mound. A look back at second. Ruffner squares to bunt, pulls it back, and takes a fastball up above the letters, a ball and no strikes.
And you know the Cropdusters, even though they're going to be playing the same time the Big Train play their first game tomorrow, are going to be glued to that TV afterwards with the Big Train playing 2 against a tough Alexandria team.
Rasmussen creeps back towards the bag at second. 1-0, Ruffner squares, pops it up behind home plate, and it is over the fencing and out of play, a ball and a strike. Well, if the Cropdusters win tonight, they control their own destiny in the division. Their magic number would be down to 2 with 2 games remaining for them, and they would need any combination of 2 wins for them or 2 losses for the Big Train, or a win and a Big Train loss to clinch the division. 1-1. Ruffner squares, bunts it right back to the mound. Cook comes off the bump to field. He fires to first in time to get Ruffner. The sacrifice goes as planned, moves Rasmussen to third or to second with one down for Jeffrey Hurd.
And this is where the Big Train need to score here. Again, being 7-inning games, the third inning is about halfway through for them. So if you can get at least one, if not both these runners in, that goes a long way for the Big Train.
Hurd, the league leader in RBI, is set up to gain a couple more. Infield comes in for the Cropdusters. 2-1 the lead, top of the third for the Big Train. First pitch to the lefty, and he takes a fastball called to strike on the outside edge. 0-1. Cook stares in for the sign, has one he likes. Hurd stares back out at him. 0-1. Swings and fouls it back. Takes a hop and then crashes into the fence behind home plate. No balls and 2 strikes. Single an inning ago for Hurd. He scored the first run of the game for the Big Train. Cook stares in. A look at third. The 0-2. Hurd foul tips it into the glove of Rickabaugh. It goes down as a strikeout and a massive out number 2 for the Cropdusters.
Jeffrey, just from the start, just looked completely off balance and overpowered, and that's huge for Cook. And now the Cropdusters need just one to get out of it.
So Schiavone steps up. 2 down, 2 in scoring position. He stares out at his college teammate. Hit a sharp line drive right at the shortstop in his first at-bat. Cook deals, and it's the slider, then spins outside, a ball and no strikes. Schiavone in his second summer with Bethesda. Came up just short in the title game a year ago, but I said he is so excited to be able to come back, compete for the Big Train again. 1-0. And a fastball called to strike on the outside corner, even at 1-1. Is close with the manager, Sal Colangelo. The development from Galvin Morris, and Craig Lopez. 1-1. Swing and a miss at the slider. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Cook 1 pitch away from getting out of the inning unscathed. A look back at second and a look at third from Cook. 1-2, and the fastball misses high and wide. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs. Biggest regular season game for the Big Train in almost a decade. 2-2. Schiavone hits a high fly ball down the left field line, but it goes foul. And the count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, the slider for Schiavone, when it's outside, he struggled with, but that one and the line drive he had earlier were both sliders inside. So if you're Cook and you want to work that pitch, you got to keep working it away.
Schiavone resets in the box. Waits on a 2-2 from Cook, and Schiavone lines it back off the screen. The count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. Dixon Williams, the on-deck hitter for the Big Train, scoops up the baseball, flips it towards the Cropdusters dugout. Allows Schiavone to reset. Cook on the mound. The 2-2 to Schiavone, and he swings and misses at the slider. A pair of punch-outs for Cook gets him out of trouble. To the bottom of the third we go. The Cropdusters still trail by a run, 2-1 Big Train.
Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Boogie, boogie, boogie down, baby. Can you boogie down? The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Boogie down, mix up. Boogie down, fix up.
Timber plays, Matt Mirror to the plate. Bottom of the third, 2-1 Big Train. 4, 5, and 6 up for the Cropdusters to face Ryan Erdelschwager. Righty peers over his glove and wheels and deals. And Mira fouls one right off the catcher, Wargo. It's no balls and a strike. They're a second team all-state selection coming out of high school. A Hawaii native. Played mostly football in his high school days, but so talented at baseball. Showing the talent off this summer. 0-1. Mira pops one foul behind home plate. Down 0-2. Wears his school's helmet with the Hawaiian Islands, the logo for Hawaii on the left side. He stares back out at the mound. 0-2 pitch. Slider skips in the dirt, a ball and 2 strikes. Erdelschwager ready to work again. 1-2. Mira smacks one back past the mound and up the middle into center field, a base hit. Raises his average above 400. And he's on with a leadoff single for Jack Cannizzaro. And the James Madison product faces his teammate on the mound in Ryan Erdelschwager. Cannizzaro having an excellent day. 4 RBIs between the 2 games as he watches a first pitch fastball that Clay Wargo frames perfectly, and it's called a strike right at the knees, 0-1. A look over at first. Mira a couple steps off the bag, 0-1. Fastball down below the knees, a ball and a strike. Big Train trying to snap their 4-game losing streak to the Cropdusters. Train last won on opening day against the team from only 1-1, and Canizaro hits a little dribbler behind home plate and foul. It's a ball and 2 strikes.
And we'll see if Erdelschweiger goes to that slider here. Ahead in the count, 1-2.
Canizaro without the batting gloves from the right side. Waits on a 1-2, and the fastball misses low and away. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Canizaro resets in the box. Erdelschweiger works from the mound, 2-2. Slider just outside. A good take from Canizaro, and the count runs full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Buzz at the ballpark in this massive game in the North Division. Mira on the move. 3-2 pitch downstairs. It's ball 4. And a walk to Canizaro puts runners at first and second with nobody out for Sam Morris.
Yeah, it's tough for Erdelschweiger. Had him in a 2-strike count ahead. Had that opportunity to pick up a huge out, number 1, after Miura reached, and Ryan just lost him.
So the tying run at second in the bottom of the 3rd. Erdelschweiger has one he likes. Miura dances off the bag. The first pitch to Morris. He swings and pops it up. Foul down the first base line and out of play. No balls and a strike. Morris a fly out back in the 1st. Had an opportunity with the bases loaded, but could not drive home a run. 0-1 pitch. Squares the bunt. Bunts it down the 3rd base line, but it trickles foul as Hakopian, the 3rd baseman, gloves it just on the grass in foul territory. Quickly behind 0-2. Cropdusters trailing 2-1 in a game where they feel like the first inning was a missed opportunity. Had the bases loaded with only 1 out after already scoring a run, but they could not plate another. The Big Train a half inning later would score 2 to take the lead, and that's where the score currently stands. 0-2 pitch, and Morris takes the slider outside, a ball and 2 strikes.
Each one of these innings for the Cropdusters, even though they only scored 1 in the 1st and none in the 2nd, they put a lot of base runners out there. So Erdelschweiger's kind of been playing with fire, and he's been able to work out of this, but can't keep this up.
Mira goes, 1-2 pitch, a ground ball to the left side. Rasmussen, the shortstop fields, flips to second for 1. Williams back to first, in time double play.
Good turn, Connor.
Mira moves over to 3rd, but quickly a runner erased, and there's 2 down for Tay Robinson.
Yeah, you got to be careful pitching to Tay, though. Had that hard line drive in the 1st to 3rd, and if it wasn't for that spectacular play by Eddie Hakopian, the Cropdusters would be out in front right now.
A dive from Hakopian to his left at 3rd. Taking a hit away from his counterpart. The first pitch to Robinson, a fastball called to strike on the outside with the slider, 0-1. Hitting under 200 on the summer. 10 RBIs. 0-1. Takes another slider. This time it drifts outside, a ball and a strike. Trying to bring home the tying run in the bottom of the 3rd. 2-1, the Big Train lead. 1-1 pitch. Robinson smacks one left side, right at the shortstop, Rasmussen. He bends down and makes the catch. Inning over. Erdelschweiger strands a runner at third once again, and the Big Train lead 2-1 as we head to the fourth from Olney.
Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Boogie, boogie, boogie down. Baby, can you boogie down? The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Boogie down, mix up. Boogie down, fix up. The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train.
Dixon Williams gets things started in the top of the fourth. 2-1, the Big Train lead. Back to the mound goes Ryan Cook. So he asked for a new baseball from home plate umpire Tim Abel. Williams, the catalyst for the offense in the second when the Big Train scored both of their runs, had a single and a pair of stolen bases before he came around to score himself. So the lefty waits on a first pitch and takes a fastball low in the dirt, a ball and no strikes. The lefty from ECU calls Greenville home. 1-0. Outside with a fastball. It's 2 balls and no strikes.
Yeah, for Bethesda, again, like I mentioned, kind of playing with fire right now. They haven't been burned that bad. They only have given up 1 run, so they really need some offense here.
2-0. And he takes another fastball low and outside. 3 balls and no strikes. The Big Train have left 4 on base. The Cropdusters have left 5 guys on through 3 innings. So both teams have missed some opportunities that they would like back. 3-0. And Williams takes ball 4. A fastball comes nowhere close to the outside corner, and it's a leadoff walk just like an inning ago. Zeb Ruddle to the plate. An RBI single back in the second. And a bat the Big Train have needed to heat up, and they have gotten exactly that as of late. Some big hits for Ruddle down the stretch of the regular season. First pitch to him. He swings and grounds it sharply past Cook on the mound and into center field. Williams around second, off for third. The throw from Mira is late, and over to second goes Ruddle. It's runners at second and third with nobody out in the top of the fourth.
As Zeb Ruddle seeing the ball really well today, and even though the first single just barely looped over the second baseman's head, has had a couple of really nice swings in this game, and great heads-up base running. Dixon Williams flying to third, and as soon as he saw Miura let that ball go, headed to third, easily took another bag.
So that will end the day for Ryan Cook on the mound. The Big Train threatening in the top of the fourth. 2 on, nobody out, and up 2-1. We'll be right back.
till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey, hey baby, I love the way you groove. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey baby, I love the way you boogie down. Hey baby, I love the way you move, boogie down. The juices in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. Meet me in the corner alone. Meet me in the corner alone. Meet me in the corner alone.
Josh Beck, the new pitcher, the 6'6" left-hander, works from the mound. 2.41 ERA in 6 games, has made 3 starts, and in his first game against the Big Train here in only went 5 innings without allowing a run, had 7 strikeouts, just 3 hits allowed. Top of the 4th, nobody out, runners at 2nd and 3rd for the catcher Clay Wargo with the new pitcher Beck on the mound. The first pitch from the lefty is a high fastball that Wargo lays off. A ball and no strikes.
Way to battle, Clay. Let's go. Come on,
Sun
4-6.
begins to set down the right field line. No lights in only at first responder field. 1-0. Curveball, Wargo
Yes,
drives
yes!
it deep down the left field line.
Hey!
It's a fair ball into the
Hey,
corner.
let's go!
In to score is Williams. Right behind him comes Ruddle. It's an RBI double for Clay Wargo, and the Big Train double their runs. It's 4-1 in the top of the 4th.
Baby, Clay Wargo, are you kidding? Finally breaking out with the bat and just looping that ball down that left field line. And good to see him pick up a couple of RBIs with it. We rave about his defense. The offense just hasn't been there, but man, did he need that.
So a runner at 2nd with nobody out. And what a big hit for the Big Train as Hakopian to the plate, and he watches a fastball paint the outside corner. No balls and a strike. Big Train trying to keep their dreams of a North Division title alive. 0-1, and Hakopian watches another fastball clip the outside corner. 0-2.
And Beck, love-hate relationship the Big Train had with him. First time they faced him was here in Olney, and he completely dominated them.
0-2, a line drive into right field. It drops for a base hit. Wargo holds to make sure it lands in the outfield grass. He moves over to 3rd. Runners at the corners with 1 down. After the single from Hakopian, or still nobody out in the top of the 4th.
Yeah. Perfectly timed for the second half of my comment, which was going to be this time and the last time out, the Big Train have seen him very well, and that's carrying over. He's now allowed 3 earned runs, but these 2, of course, not being charged to him, but running into trouble here.
At the plate is Rasmussen, and he watches as a first pitch fastball misses outside. It's a ball and no strikes to the left-handed hitter. The corner's in for the Cropdusters. Middle infielders play back at double play depth. 1-0. Rasmussen hits a high chopper up the middle. The second baseman, Martin Fields, flips to Sanchez for 1. The shortstop fires back to first. In time, double play. Quickly 2 down, but Wargo in to score. It's 5-1 Big Train.
Yeah, that was a really close play as well. I think Connor Rasmussen might have had that one beat, but at the very least, just drive in a big run for the Big Train.
team looking to control their own destiny in the North Division. And the 5-1 lead gives them the opportunity to do that with Orr at the plate. And 2 down. First pitch, he swings and rolls one to the left side. The shortstop, Sanchez, fields as he drifts to his left, fires to first in time for out number 3, and the inning comes to an end. But the Big Train score 3 runs. They add to their lead. It's 5-1 as we head to the bottom of the 4th, halfway home in Olney.
The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner, no. 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 Boogie down, mix up. Boogie down, fix up. The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey, hey baby, I love the way you groove. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey, hey baby, I love the way you boogie down. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Boogie down.
We're halfway home in Olney in Game 2 of this doubleheader between the 2 top teams in the North Division. 5-1 the Big Train lead, and RJ Rickabaugh leads things off for the Cropdusters. In the bottom of the 4th, first pitch from Erdelschweiger, and Rickabaugh lifts the fastball into shallow left field. Orr on his way in, and the left fielder makes the catch on the move for out number 1.
Batting next, the shortstop, number 7 from the College of Charleston,
Brings Patrick Sanchez to the plate with 1 away, and the Cropdusters in need of offense. Sanchez taps his bat on home plate and stands in. Righty on righty battle, and he takes a first pitch fastball that connects on the inside corner, called a strike, 0-1. 0-1 pitch. Slider, and Sanchez rolls it sharply up the middle. The shortstop, Rasmussen, fields behind second base. His throw to first is offline. It pulls Schiavone off the bag, and Sanchez able to reach on what likely will be scored an error.
That's a really tough play for Rasmussen. A long run, fielding that ball behind the second base bag. Just couldn't make a good throw.
So Braden Martin to the plate with 1 away and a runner at first. He's 1 for 2 today with a flyout in the first, a single in the second on a perfectly placed bunt. Pitch to Erdelschweiger. From Erdelschweiger, outside for a ball, throw back to first, and Sanchez in well before the throw arrives. The ball and no strikes. Cropdusters scored their only run in the first inning, left the bases loaded. Erdelschweiger has been excellent since. 1-0. Outside to Martin with a fastball. 2 balls and no strikes. A division race no one could have expected. The Cropdusters And the Big Train battling down into the final week of the regular season. 2-0, Sanchez on the move. Martin swings, and it's a high fly ball to deep left field. Orr ranges back, and the left fielder makes the catch again for out number 2. Retreating to first is Sanchez.
From the College of Charleston, Will Baumhofer.
And Will Baumhofer back to the plate.
You got to be careful here. Will's seen the ball well today off of Erdelschweiger, and you don't want him to reach because you have Kirk Miura waiting behind him.
Big Train up 5-1 in the bottom of the 4th. Baumhofer takes the first pitch down below the knees. A ball and no strikes. The fastball just misses from Ryan. As he pins that glove up against his left hip, holds the ball behind his back. Comes set. 1-0, runner on the move. Pitch outside, throw down from Wargo. It's off the glove of the shortstop, Rasmussen, and into right center field. Back to his feet and off to third goes Sanchez. And there's a runner 90 feet away for the Cropdusters in the bottom of the 4th with 2 down.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate because that ball that hit off of Rasmussen, like you said, went out into no man's land, which allowed Sanchez to get a little further to third, and we might be up by 4, but again, this is a Cropdusters team that has a really good offense, so you can't be giving them free bases.
Baumhofer waits at the plate on a 1-1. And the fastball skips in the dirt, gets past Wargo, but Sanchez can't read it at third until it's too late. And he remains 90 feet away on a ball that rolls all the way to the backstop. 2 balls and a strike to Baumhofer.
Yeah, easily would have been able to score on that one, but Sanchez, like you said, couldn't read it. Ball was headed towards the backstop, but if you're facing the pitcher's mound to the back right, so further away from third base.
2-1. Baumhofer takes a called strike on the outside corner. 2 balls and 2 strikes. As the sun continues to set down that first base line. No lights at first responder field. And starting with the haze as well to get a little bit darker. In only 2-2. And Baumhofer lines one right back off the screen. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. So Erdelschweiger drips the ball behind his back. Looking to get out of the inning. 2-2. And the fastball skips in the dirt. Wargo devours it with his chest protector and the glove. It's 3 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs and a runner at third. 5-1 Big Train in the bottom of the 4th. A look at third. Look back to the plate. 3-2. And the fastball just misses outside, ball 4. Puts runners at the corners for the dangerous Jimmy Kirk.
Yeah, it's a good location, but just a little bit low. I like Erdelschweiger working the outside corners. It's easily where pitchers can have the most amount of success. Just unfortunate that this one, even though right level on that corner, right spot, but just a little bit too low.
The powerful righty bat stands in. Had a 3-run blast last night. Has 2 on and 2 out. Swings at the first pitch, ropes it down the third baseline. It's a fair ball and it rolls into the corner. In to score comes Sanchez. Baumhofer to third. The throw to second from Orr, the left fielder, is a little late. Kirk dives in safely with an RBI double. And the Cropdusters back on the board for the first time since the first inning. It's 5-2 Big Train.
Yeah, we were so close to getting out of this, and now you got the one guy in this lineup that you do not want to face if you're a pitcher, Matt Miura.
I'll finish your statement.
Thank
Does not
you.
get out.
Does not get out. There you go. Sometimes I just talk and I don't really know where it's going.
Hey, it happens to the best of us, and the Big Train certainly do not want to face this guy. A batting average above 400. Runners at second and third with 2 down, and Mira represents the tying run. Without a home run on the summer, but does have 23 RBIs. First pitch to him, and the slider fools him. A head nod from Mira, a called strike on the outside corner for Erdelschweiger. 0-1. Mira has walked and singled in 2 plate appearances so far. At third is Baumhofer, at second is Kirk. 0-1, and the slider skips in the dirt, a ball and a strike.
Yeah, for Erdelschweiger, the scouting report here is just to continue to work away, because Matt Muir can turn on pretty much anything inside as well. We've seen it. He can pull. So if you work that outside corner, you have the best shot of getting him out.
1-1. Takes a fastball low and in the dirt. 2 balls and a strike. First base is open, but Jack Cannizzaro is on deck with his 4 RBIs through the 2 games so far. Deep breath on the mound for Erdelschweiger. On a 2-1 pitch, the slider, Mira lifts it to deep right center field. Back goes Ruffner, leans back in the right fielder, reaches up to make the catch and end the inning. Mira hits it hard, but the Cropdusters strand 2 in scoring position. They get 1 across. It's 5-2 Big Train as we head to the 5th from Olney.
Boogie down. The juices in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Boogie, boogie, boogie down. Baby, can you boogie down?
Top of the 5th, 5-2 Big Train. With Ruffner to lead things off. And Josh Beck back to the mound. 5-2 the Big Train lead. First pitch to Ruffner, and he swings and misses at a low fastball. No balls and a strike. Top of the 5th, the Big Train scored 2 in the 2nd, 3 in the 4th. 0-1. Ruffner takes the curveball low and in the dirt. A ball and a strike. A 1-for-1 day for Ruffner with a sacrifice bunt back in the 3rd. 1-1 pitch from the tall lefty, and Ruffner hits a high chopper back up the middle. The second baseman, Martin, fields behind the bag on a backhand and rifles one to first in time for out number 1. So Jeffrey Hurd to the plate with 1 down.
Well, we know what happened last time these two faced off against each other. So I would assume if you're Beck, you maybe would like to work a little bit outside and try to go fastballs instead of a curveball right on the inside part of the plate.
Hung a curveball, and Hurd hit it a mile. A home run to right field. First pitch from the lefty, and the fastball misses low and outside. A ball and no strikes. A battle for first place in the North Division on the line. 1-0. A curveball. Drops low and outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Cropdusters have claimed the season series, but a win for the Big Train puts them right back in this division race. 2-0, low and outside, 3 balls and no strikes to Hurd. A win for the Big Train, and they control their own destiny. 3 wins in the final 4 games would give them the division win, regardless of what the Cropdusters do, as the 3-0 fastball misses downstairs, ball 4. And a 1-out walk for Hurd.
Now batting the first baseman, number 20 from James Madison University, Jason Schiavone.
Yeah, Owen! Woo! Owen!
The Cropdusters win both of their games and lose tonight, but win the remaining 2 games. They need the Big Train to go 2-2 or worse over the final 4 to claim the division crown. First pitch to Schiavone, and the fastball low and outside, a ball and no strikes. Should be a tight battle down to the finish line for the North Division crown. 1-0. And Schiavone watches a fastball rifle in on the inside corner, called the strike, even at 1-1.
Yeah, and don't automatically count the Big Train out just because they have 3 games coming up against the Aces. Remember the last time they faced off against them down in Alexandria, shut them out 5-0.
1-1, fastball misses high and away, 2 balls and a strike.
And even that first game that they lost 12-5 had a lead going into the 8th before the offense for Alexandria awoke and hit the bullpen hard.
2-1. Outside with a fastball, 3 balls and a strike to Schiavone.
So in total, 2 games, the Aces have led for 2 of the 18 innings.
And they have rarely trailed this season outside of those 2 games. 26-3 their record. Had a win streak over 15 games earlier this summer. As the 3-1 misses low with a fastball, it's ball 4. Back-to-back walks to Schiavone, puts runners at first and second. Yesterday, the Aces claimed the regular season title in the Cal Ripken League.
Home field throughout the entire playoffs.
As the number 1 overall seed, they will face the lowest seed remaining in the playoffs after their first round bye. The first pitch to Williams, a foul tip into the glove on the fastball. It's no balls and a strike.
Which would presumably be, if the season ended today, I believe Southern Maryland.
Southern Maryland and the Braves tied in the division. 0-1 misses outside, runners go. The throw goes down to second, and they got Schiavone. Rickabaugh attacks the back runner, and he throws him out as Hurd steals third, but 2 away. And the count, no balls and 2 strikes to Dixon Williams.
Yeah, that tag on Schiavone was on his foot, and Schiavone had a head-first dive. And Schiavone can't believe it, and, you know, Coach G even saying something as well down there to the umpire.
Bill Worthington, the third base umpire, made the call. Here's the 0-2. Williams lines one right back off the screen. It stays no balls and 2 strikes with a runner at third, 2 down, and the Big Train leading 5-2 in the top of the 5th. Back the lefty, pins the glove against his right shoulder, deals an 0-2 in the dirt, and Rickabaugh has to slide to his left and block the baseball to keep it in front of him and keep Hurd at third. An excellent job behind the plate. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Back a look over at third. Set at the bell. And those all yellow uniforms. 1-2 pitch and the curveball in the dirt again. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Zeb Ruddle, the man on deck for Bethesda. 2-2. Williams takes strike 3 called on the outside corner, and the inning comes to an end. A perfect pitch from Beck, and the Big Train do not score in the top of the 5th. To the bottom half, the Cropdusters trail 5-2. I'll be right back on the Big Train Baseball Network.
Meet me in the corner, low, boogie down, mix up, boogie down, fix up. The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey baby, I love the way you groove. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey baby, I love the way you boogie down. Hey baby, I love the way you move, boogie down. The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Boogie, boogie down, baby.
It's the Big Train in front, 5-2, as we head to the bottom of the 5th from only in the biggest game of the regular season, with the North Division title on the line between the Big Train and the Cropdusters. And the new pitcher for the Big Train is Austin Morris in his 8th appearance out of the bullpen. 3.21 ERA. Pitched just 2 days ago against the Giants. Went an inning, gave up 2 runs on a couple of hits and a walk. 5-2 in the bottom of the 5th. Jack Canizaro stands up to the plate as Morris wheels and deals, and Canizaro fouls the first pitch back off the fence. 0-1.
But he's so good, he doesn't need gloves.
Canizaro scrapes his cleats back in the dirt as the bat boy tracks down the baseball behind the plate. Morris did not move from the mound. He stares over that crimson glove. Deals an 0-1. Canizaro takes low with a fastball. It's a ball and a strike. Cropdusters down to their final 9 outs in this doubleheader. They won the first game 10-5, trail 5-2 in game 2. Morris 1-1 home, and the fastball cannot clip the bottom of the zone. It's 2 balls and a strike. Canizaro has been the star for the Cropdusters today. 5 hits and 4 RBIs as the 2-1 fastball finds the bottom of the zone for a strike. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Morris, 2-2. Fastball just off the outside corner. It's 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Bro, wake up.
And the home plate umpire, Tim Abel,
here we go.
is walking towards the Big Train dugout after they were clearly upset
Don't mess up,
about
man.
that call.
It's not that hard.
And he's still chatting.
You want to switch? I'll do the job.
And someone just got tossed.
Are you kidding me?
One of the Big Train coaches
No
just
way.
got tossed.
That's unbelievable.
Bro, you're so soft.
And
I don't know if it's just the coach too, because other people are yelling as well.
that's clearly one of the Big Train coaches as he walks out onto the field.
Yeah, it's it came out of nowhere too. That's unbelievable. Just like I don't know.
Chris Devlin, the coach, thrown out, and he is talking to our first base umpire, Dave Stewart, who walks him back to the dugout.
Yeah, there was no kind of warning for it either. And he's going to get a nice applause from the crowd too. That's unbelievable.
He said something, and when Tim Abel, the home
Right.
plate umpire, walked over there, he kept barking at him. And Tim Abel had enough. Throws him out. So he packs up his stuff and heads to the parking lot.
Yeah, an interesting, we've had an interesting couple of games. That's the first ejection of the year though, I think.
Been some close calls, but that is the first ejection.
And it was very quick too. Wasn't a lot of talk after the home plate umpire went to the third base side.
Man, those glasses ain't helping.
Count 3 balls and 2 strikes to Jack Canizaro. Nobody out in the bottom of the 5th. After a long pause, he stands back in. Morris is 3-2. Canizaro chops one to the left side. The shortstop Rasmussen fields above his shoot tops, fires to first, and just in time for out number 1.
Yeah, credit to Morris there, bouncing back after a long delay, Eli, with the ejection and able to deliver a good pitch on the inside corner and get Canizaro to roll one over.
So Sam Morris to the plate with 1 down.
That call, right? Oh, wait, you didn't make the call.
First pitch to Morris, and he takes a fastball well outside. It's past Wargo into the backstop, a ball and no strikes.
Michael, if you toss someone to the softest thing ever, he'll get it the rest of the game.
1 out. And Morris lines it back off the fence. It's a ball and a strike.
Who cares? You're not in the dugout. You can't do anything.
Sun continues to set, hidden behind some clouds. 1-1. Morris rolls one sharply left side. Rasmussen fields on a backhand. Throws across his body. Not in time. Morris beats it out. It's a 1-out hit for Sam Morris, and Tay Robinson comes to the plate.
You got to be careful with Tay. We mentioned it last time he came up. He lined out, was robbed by Eddie Akopian, but then his second at-bat lined out hard to the shortstop, Connor Rasmussen. So he's seeing the ball well, just a couple of hard line drive, high exit velocity batted balls that have just gone right to a few Big Train players.
Stands in from the right side. Morris looks at first and deals to the plate, and Robinson watches a fastball called a strike on the outside corner, 0-1. Morris off of first, decent speed for the right fielder. 0-1, Robinson hits one sharply left side. The shortstop Rasmussen to Williams at second for one. Back to first in time, double play, and the inning is over. 6-4-3 around the diamond, and Morris retires the Cropdusters in order. On to inning number 6 from Olney. It's 5-2 Big Train.
Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey, hey baby, I love the way you boogie down. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Boogie down. The juice in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Boogie, boogie, boogie down. Baby, can you boogie down?
Top of the 6th, Big Train lead 5-2, looking for some insurance against the Cropdusters. First pitch to the lefty Zeb Ruddle, and the curveball from the left-hander Beck on the mound drops in for a strike, 0-1. Ruddle a 2-for-2 day, an RBI and a run scored. 0-1. Swings at a fastball and drives it to deep right field. Back goes the right fielder Morris at the track. He reaches up and makes the catch for out number 1. So Clay Wargo with one away. Had the big hit in the 4th inning, the 2-run double off of Beck to break things open. It was 2-1 Big Train at the time, and he made it 4-1 before he came around to score. First pitch to Wargo, and the curveball misses outside, a ball and no strikes. Big Train have scored in bunches in this ball game. 2 runs in the 2nd, 3 runs in that 4th inning. 1-0. Wargo attacks a curveball, bounces it up the middle. Sanchez, the shortstop, behind second base. Fields, and with a sidearm sling, gets it to first in time for out number 2.
Yeah, he continues to impress every single one of these balls that's hit out to him. You know, we don't have Gold Glove awards or anything like that, but Patrick Sanchez this year for the Cropdusters would and has built a pretty good case as the best defensive shortstop right now in the Cal Ripken League.
Might be the best defender
Yeah,
the league.
in general.
As Hakopian squares to bunt and bunts it behind home plate. Rickabaugh, the catcher, chases after it, but he cannot catch up to it. It's no balls and a strike.
That's such a tough position as well. That center field and catcher, those are the big three. So if you can be at the top of your game at one of those three positions, you're easily among the best defenders in whatever league you're in, whether it's summer ball, NCAA, whether it's minor leagues, majors, whatever.
College of Charleston product has made some impressive plays. 0-1. Upstairs to Hakopian, a ball and a strike, and Hakopian in his own right at first and third, an excellent defender. A leadoff man for the Big Train, 1 for 3 tonight. 1-1 home. And he taps one softly left side. Robinson, the third baseman, fields it on a hop, and he flips it over to first from the infield grass in time for out number 3. 1, 2, 3 go the Big Train to the bottom of the 6th. Cropdusters down to their final 6 outs. They trail 5-2. Bottom of the 6th, R.J. Rickabaugh leads things off against Austin Morris. 5-2 Big Train on the final Monday of the regular season in the Cal Ripken League. First pitch to the lefty and a swing and a miss at the changeup. 0-1. Rickabaugh holds that yellow bat with his white batting gloves and stands back in. 0-1 pitch. And he checks his swing, but goes around, according to Tim Abel, our home plate umpire. 0-2. Morris peeks over that crimson glove. Gets the sign from his catcher, Wargo. 0-2. Rickabaugh watches strike 3 called. On the inside corner, 1 away in the bottom of the 6th.
Yeah, for Austin Morris, that was impressive. He's going with the same pitch there those last 2 times, at the changeup on the first one, but able to locate it in 3 separate areas. You had a low outside, then you had high and away, speaking as a left-handed hitter, and then up and into the left-handed hitter, both with fastballs. Really good stuff from Morris.
So Patrick Sanchez to the plate with 1 down and nobody aboard, and he watches a first pitch slider spin out of the zone to the right-handed hitter. A ball and no strikes. Sanchez reached on an error in the 4th and came around to score. 1-0. He attacks a fastball, pops it foul behind home plate, and out of play to even the count, a ball and a strike. Final meeting between the Cropdusters and the Big Train this season. 1-1. Sanchez wraps one right side. Dixon Williams into a dive on the short-handed pick. He gets to his feet and throws to first in time for out number 2. What a play by Dixon Williams.
Yeah, that's really impressive. It wasn't even much of a dive. It was almost more of a pick and falling at the same time. But, man, have we seen some excellent defense from these Big Train infielders in this game.
So Braden Martin to the plate. A left-hander watches a first pitch inside, a ball and no strikes. Big Train looking to reclaim first place in the North Division, looking to control their own destiny for the North Division crown as the 1-0 downstairs, 2 balls and no strikes. The schedule not easy, in fact quite daunting in the final 4 games, 3 of them against the Alexandria Aces, a team that has already clinched the Cal Ripken League regular season title, 2-0. And a called strike with a fastball on the outer edge. It's 2-1. They play 2 at home tomorrow. They play 1 in Alexandria on Friday, 2-1. Upstairs, 3 balls and a strike. But 3 wins in the final 4 games, regardless of Cropduster results, would give Bethesda the division title. 3-1, Martin hits it straight to the third baseman Hakopian on the ground. He fields shoe high, fires to first in time for out number 3. A 1-2-3 inning for Morris. On to the 7th we go. The Big Train up 5-2.
The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner, no. 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 Boogie down, fix up. Boogie down, fix up. The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey baby.
Top of the 7th, 5-2 Big Train as they look for some insurance. It's 2, 3, and 4 due up. Rasmussen to lead things off against the left-hander Josh Beck. The first pitch to him is a curveball that he pops high and foul out of play down the third base side. It's no balls and a strike. Rasmussen, a walk, a single, and a ground out turned into a double play. 0-1, squares the bunt, pulls it back, and watches a fastball that's called a strike on the outside corner, 0-2.
Big Train need this one. A win would get them in first place, and they would be alive another day, and we'll play tomorrow. Still trying to win the North.
0-2, the curveball in the dirt, a ball and 2 strikes. They would control their own destiny with the win and try and pick up that bye. No team without a bye has won a title the Cal Ripken League since 2013. 1-2, and the curveball misses outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Redbirds did it in 2013 as the 6th seed at the time. 2-2 from Beck. Rasmussen lines it back off the fence. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And if the Big Train don't claim the division, they would play their first elimination game, which would be on Saturday in the wild card game, before the league championship series since 2014. 2-2. Rasmussen hits a chopper to the left side. Robinson spears it with the end of his glove. The third baseman spins and fires to first in time for out number 1.
And even though the Big Train would love to run away with the division, this is good for the Cal Ripken League to have another really competitive team, and it makes for a great finish here in the North Division.
Really a 3-team league with the Aces, the Big Train, and the Cropdusters. Or to the plate with 1 out, and he watches a fastball miss up and away. A ball and no strikes. Back in 2014, it was the Baltimore Redbirds in the Big Train who dominated the league. 1-0. Upstairs, 2 balls and no strikes. But a different playoff format back then. It was a double elimination tournament, and the Big Train lost to the Redbirds in the winner's bracket final and had to go to the loser's bracket final as the 2-0 is fouled back and out of play. It's 2 balls and a strike by Orr, where they beat the Rockville Express to go to the title game. They needed to beat Baltimore twice in that title. They beat them once, they lost the second, and the Redbirds claimed the 2014 Cal Ripken League postseason title. 2-1 to Orr. Curveball drops into the zone. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. For the Cropdusters in the bottom of the 7th, it's Baumhofer, Kirk, and Mira, 2, 3, and 4. 2-2. Orr lines it back off the screen, and the count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. Beck, the lefty, leans in for the sign. Comes set at the belt. 2-2 to Orr, and the curveball never drops. Stays about head level to Orr. It's 3 balls and 2 strikes. Sun continues to set. Getting dark at First Responder Field. 3-2. Orr fouls one back again. And a race between the Bat Boys. Who's going to get there? It's Owen. The Big Train win the race of the Bat Boys. A slide at the very end to pick it up. And Josh
That was
Beck,
beautiful.
Josh Beck, the left-hander on the mound, has a good smile on his face after getting to watch that. Now he deals a 3-2. And the curveball is called a 3rd strike on the inside corner. Down goes Orr as he flips the bat and now turns to head back to the dugout for out number 2.
That's a beautiful pitch there from Beck, that breaking ball going in. And man, that's just one of those where, you know, you think you're going down to first, but, you know, you toss that bat to the side and you have to walk right back.
So Teddy Ruffner to the plate with 2 down and nobody on, and the first pitch to him is a fastball just a bit outside, a ball and no strikes. Both Bat Boys standing at the entrance of their dugout. They're ready for another.
Yes.
1-0, and it's called a strike at the knees with a fastball, 1-1.
Wait, we need a best of 3.
I
Owens
completely
1-1.
agree.
Cropdusters guy has 1-1.
1-1 to Ruffner, fouls it back. Here they come
There's no
again.
chance on this
Owen
one.
gives up quickly, and it's the Cropdusters who win the battle.
Best of 5.
Bat
Best of
Boys.
5. Best of 5. No. That one. We don't count that one. That one was blatantly on the Cropduster side.
You have to blame Teddy Ruffner at the plate for that. 1-2 home. He lines one down the right field line, swings away from the right fielder and drops in for a base hit. Morris cuts it off. Ruffner around first and into second on his feet. It's a 2-out double, and it brings up Hurd as the Big Train look for an insurance run.
Yeah, Owen, you the goat.
Yeah, it gives him credit to Teddy Ruffner. These 2 games, I mean, he's been great. You know, as a guy who, similar to Dean Twigo, you know, not as much of an everyday player. He's starting to get some more regular at-bats, and he's making the most of it.
A 2-for-4 day as Hurd to the plate with an RBI opportunity. Takes a deep breath as he rests the bat on his left shoulder. Beck deals. Hurd attacks a curveball, lines it into right. It lands in front of Morris. Ruffner gets the wave. Here comes the throw to the plate. It's cut off by Kirk. It's an RBI single for Hurd, and the Big Train leads 6-2.
Yeah, what a game for Jeffrey Hurd. 3 times he's reached base, and now a huge insurance run in the 7th.
The first baseman, Kirk, cut it off, and probably the only chance to get Ruffner at the plate would have been to let it go, but the run comes in to score. 6-2 Big Train with Jason Schiavone at the plate. Hurd off of first. The pitch to Schiavone. The fastball inside. A ball and no strikes. Schiavone takes low and inside again with a fastball. 2 balls and no strikes. Two-0 pitch, and Schiavone pops it up. Left side of the infield. Robinson, the third baseman, calls everyone off, and just in fair territory along the third base line, he makes the catch to end the inning. Big Train straight for 1 on a double from Ruffner and an RBI single from Hurd. Bottom of the 7th, Cropdusters' last chance, down by 4.
Baby, can you boogie down? The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner, no. 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 Boogie down, mix up. Boogie down, fix up.
The Cropdusters need a bottom of the 7th rally, down to their final 3 outs. It's 6-2 Big Train as Will Baumhofer leads things off against Austin Morris. The lefty at the plate, the righty on the mound, and the first pitch a swing and a miss at the changeup, 0-1.
Yeah, not too many of those from Morris yet today, but he's got a good one, and Baumhofer already kind of gives up in the sense that
The 0-1 slider, picture perfect at the knees, called a strike, 0-2.
going back to my last thought, kind of, it shows you that he's sitting on a fastball and kind of gives up what his strategy was early on.
0-2, gets the fastball, lines it sharply down the third baseline. It's a fair ball. Takes a big turn at first, off for second, or the left fielder picks it up along the line. His throw goes to the cutoff man. It's a leadoff double for Will Baumhofer. And the Cropdusters, trailing by 4, get the first base runner here in the 7th. So Jimmy Kirk to the plate. He had an RBI double back in the 4th. Powerful right-handed hitter. The black arm sleeve on his right arm. Waits and watches a first pitch miss low and outside. A ball and no strikes. It's the dangerous part of the lineup for the Cropdusters. Kirk, Mira, Canizaro, 3, 4, and 5. But the Big Train with a 4-run cushion, 1-0. Fastball again, misses outside, 2 balls and no strikes. You imagine if Kirk is able to reach, Cropdusters might elect to go to a pinch runner to put some speed on the bases. Kirk wraps one sharply to the left side. Rasmussen, the shortstop, looks to third, instead fires to first in time for out number 1. Baumhofer moves over 90 feet away with 1 down, but the Big Train up 4 and Matt Mirror to the plate.
Yeah, for Rasmussen, that's big because, one thing you never think about is how you have to pay attention to how fast guys are. And you mentioned it about maybe optioning to pinch run for Kirk. So, for a lot of guys, if you look to third and make a motion, you run out of time to get the out at first.
Mirror to the plate, watches a slider called to strike on the inside corner as he backs out of the way. And quickly words to Tim Abel, our home plate umpire. No balls and a strike. It's the 0-1. Mira swings and misses at a slider, and clearly frustrated with that first call. 0-2.
And now Morris has his chance to work the best pitch he wants.
0-2, and the slider skips in the dirt. A ball and 2 strikes. Baumhofer at third. 1 down in the bottom of the 7th. 6-2 Big Train. And a battle for the lead in the North Division. 1-2. Mira swings and taps one softly to the right side. Dixon Williams, the second baseman, fields. Flips to first in time for out number 2. In to score comes Baumhofer. It's 6-3 Big Train. And the Cropdusters down to their final out.
Yeah, big here for Bethesda, needing just that final out. Got a chance to rest up and be back tomorrow for another 2 really big games.
What rest?
I know.
2 games against the Aces tomorrow. At home at Shirley Povich Field. First pitch to Canizaro, and he takes a fastball called a strike right over the heart of the zone. 1 out away from victory are the Big Train. 0-1 pitch. Canizaro checks his swing on a slider. Goes around, according to Dave Stewart, our first base umpire. Down 0-2. And down to the final strike for the Cropdusters.
Yeah, similar to the Mira at bat, Morris can go with whatever pitch he wants. See, shook off a sign. We'll see what he goes with.
0-2. High fastball and an easy take for Canizaro. A ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea to go fastball when you've got guys off balance with that slider, but not a competitive pitch.
1-2. Swing and a miss. The Big Train pick up a much-needed win against their division foe, the Cropdusters. They split the doubleheader. The fate of the North Division still very much undecided, but tonight, with days remaining in the regular season, it's the Big Train who hold control. They go up a game in the North Division with 4 to play for Bethesda, 2 to play for the Cropdusters, and the North Division still very much on the line. Down the stretch we go.
And what a turnaround from game 1, where Bethesda was, pretty much outmatched in every aspect. The Cropdusters had great offense. They didn't make any errors. The pitching was excellent, limiting the Big Train through 6 to just a couple of runs. But, Bethesda, they're not going to get boggled down by something like that. They are a good team, and they come back and deliver one of their best performances, in my opinion, of the season.
It was a fantastic performance. Well, before we get you the player of the game, we will try and explain the playoff situation as we go from here. The teams have different amount of games. The Cropdusters have 2 more losses, but 2 less games to be played. The Big Train and Cropdusters tied on wins. The Big Train 21-11 with 4 games to go. The Cropdusters 21-13 with 2 games to go, and the Cropdusters do hold the tiebreaker. So the Big Train have to win 1 more game than the Cropdusters the rest of the way. Yes, they played 2 more. 3 of them are against the Alexandria Aces, who only have lost 3 times all season. If the Big Train go 3-1 over the final 4 games, they clinch the division regardless of the Cropdusters' results. If the Cropdusters win out and the Big Train go 2-2 or worse, then the Cropdusters win the division based on the tiebreaker. If the Cropdusters win just 1 game, the Big Train need to go 2-2 to win the division, and if the Cropdusters lose the remaining 2 games, the Big Train just need 1 more win to win the division. It's 2 games tomorrow against the Aces. It's 1 game against the T-Bolts on Wednesday. It's 1 final game in the regular season on Friday against the Aces. All of those games could decide the North Division fate. Well, Adam, before we round things out and get set for tomorrow's doubleheader, who is your Roll-A-Bump Limited player of the game?
Kind of an underrated one here, but I'm going to give it to actually Teddy Ruffner. A couple of really good running catches early on, especially 1 and 2 hits, not to mention a really fantastic game 1 as well. And that just shows you that sometimes it's just not what you do. It's not about the sexy stats, the RBIs, the home runs, the doubles, the strikeouts. It can just sometimes be a good catch in a high leverage situation or a sack bunt, and that's why Teddy Ruffner gets it.
Well, the Big Train can push their magic number to 1 tomorrow against the Aces. They play 2 games. The Cropdusters have a day off. It's a doubleheader The Aces will be the home team for Game 1. The Big Train, the home team for Game 2. First pitch for Game 1 is at 4:30 p.m. You can catch all the action right here on the Big Train Baseball Network. For Adam Glover, Kaylee Tallman, our producer Harrison Myers, I'm Eli Kleinman saying good night from Olney. The Big Train take Game 2. They split the doubleheader. The final score 6-3.